Yo, what's going on, family? Justice 7 here, back again from the OGC. Today I'm bringing to you an interview I was able to have with some of my great folks over there at SAA, an affiliate program that I was a big part of. Really helped to get my business going on the affiliate side as I was growing my business before becoming more of an impact coach on that end, and really dialing in and trying to share my story around how I was able to hit my first 30K month part-time while I was still working my accounting job at the time, right? Working full-time my accounting job and still able to go ahead and get business really rolling and launch it, so that I was able to eventually quit my job and go full-time online here. So presented a lot of gems here, and really just want to lay out my story and what really some of the key aspects that got me to where I am, and really that was really just the launch pad that really got me to where I am today. So with that being said, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below if you're not already dived into our channel here, but I want to go ahead and just roll this out for you. So let's get you going.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the interview. Today joined by none other than myself, Jamie, Jack Karras, Chris Donnelly, and Justice Severin. Justice has a pretty awesome tale to tell. He went from humble beginnings to clocking up over 30K in revenue in a single month, working part-time on his affiliate business. I thought that we would just ping a couple of questions at him and get the lowdown of how he actually was able to do that. And hear a little bit more about his story. So Justice, massively appreciate you jumping on board. Might just give it a couple of moments just to see who ends up joining us. And Jacob's just going to sing a little tune in the meantime while we wait.
No, I'm just sitting over here raving because we got all these cool new graphics that have got like rave music in the background, because it's apparently what Chris listens to.
The heavy doof doof.
The doof doof.
No better time to get a high ticket sale. Oh my goodness, that graphic's looking sweet.
Get some guitar on there, Justice.
Oh, definitely, man. Oh.
What's up, Daisy?
I know that you set that up too, Chris.
Nadia, how you going?
In the studio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear some of your guitaring at some stage, Chris. You must be. I assume you're good if you played in bands on stage and stuff.
I've dabbled quite a bit.
Words out.
Dabbled. Interesting choice of words. Dabbled. I don't
Do you have
think
any videos of it?
Do you know what? Because when I started this, how many years back we're talking now? It was in the late 90s. So there's not a lot of video footage. There is some stuff on VHS, literally. I need to get converted to digital. There we go.
Wow.
Once that happens,
Old school. I like it.
Pre-YouTube.
Awesome. Hey,
Can you sing?
Not really. I can hold a tune at times. Not got the best vocal range, but more guitars than anything.
That's awesome.
Did a bit.
Really a songwriter.
You sound like gravel. Scottish gravelly voice would be amazing. All right, got a few people here. Drop some comments, folks. Smash that heart button. Juice this up for the algo.
Absolutely. I need
the glow sticks
now.
Oh,
great to see some people in here.
God, that comment. Oh gosh, I'm not gonna read that one out.
Oh,
Whatever that is.
Just seeing that now too. Oh man.
Welcome everyone. All right. So thanks for everyone tuning in. I thought it was going to be pretty awesome just to hear a bit of background from Justice, some of the differentiators that allowed him to blow up. And well, actually, I was going to say relatively quick succession, but I don't know if that's the case. I haven't actually heard your backstory before, so who knows? You might have been toiling away for decades before you blew up. But, it seems like in relatively quick succession, Justice is kind of managed to blow up a business, and from what I understand, has left the workforce in recent times as well, which is super exciting to pursue this full time. So I guess to kick things off, man, did you want to just kind of go through, I guess, your backstory in terms of, I guess, how you got into affiliate marketing, and yeah, what made you take the leap into affiliate marketing?
Happy to. And you guys, I can go as short or as long as we need to. So let me know when you want to cut me off. But
go for it, as long as it takes. As long as it takes.
And there we go, man. Shoot, when did they all get? I was big, for those, you can see the guitars I got behind me. I was big into music production. I got my accounting degree, so even to start there, got my degree there, but always knew that was not the life for me. At least that was never like, didn't get me pumped up, didn't make me want to wake up early. So I really kind of decided to go ahead and take that route, just looking for something else. So really for a long time, it was the music producer side, just kind of working, making beats, looking for ways to go. I kind of was self-taught there, did it for like 3 years, self-taught, and then got to a place where I could work at a studio as an audio engineer. So I did that for like 3 years, really enjoyed it, but balancing working 40, 50 hours in the accounting job while doing 20 plus hours at the studio. I got two kids now, but the time I decided, one kid, my one girl, just like such a major time suck. So COVID came around. Fortunately, I say fortunately, the studio shut down temporarily for like a month. I was back in like March of 2020. And then I decided to, a month later they opened up, and I had a choice where I could have either went back and kind of got back into the thing, swing of things. But I just, like I said, the time was just such a major suck for me, and just really not where I want to be long term as far as ways to. If I was going to take it full time, I just could tell music was not going to be that thing for me. I know it can be for a lot of people, but in my case, it just was not working out. So took a step back, was like one of the hardest decisions. I felt like I was like shaking when I kind of quit there. Like honestly, it was just such a passion, and then you step away. It was crazy there. So fast forward, I took like a month or two to just kind of wing it, see what I kind of liked. Went on YouTube for a bit. Stumbled upon, I was just looking on some, ways to invest online. I'm just like, what can I do here? I feel like I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I'm like, what can I do to make some cash here? What can I do to get some kind of ball rolling, get me fired up again? Because there's no way I'm just doing this accounting and that's it. Like I need something else. So basically found a video on YouTube. It happened to say something about, actually, I was back in the other room there. It was an ad on YouTube actually there. It popped up, some guy talking about ways to make money online, right? And I'm like, you know what? Let me see what this guy's talking about here. Watch the 15-minute video. Long story short, he talked about, and this was back in July, actually. So even just give it a little timeline. So July 2020, almost a year ago now, or a little past it. Talked about affiliate marketing, ad agencies, and building a course. And at the time, I remember it was like really a low ticket kind of offer there. They, of course, they have the Ascension offer where they kind of, priced up there for a couple thousand. I didn't take that, but I remember talking to the advisor, and he was saying, I was like, yeah, an ad agency sounds awesome. Like, let me kind of try that. And he said, you know what? Start with the affiliate marketing side and just really, then from there, kind of get your cash flow up that you can take from there. So then try that out for like, he obviously wanted me to try with him. I was like, let me try it on my own here. So went down the YouTube rabbit hole from like July, August, and then September. I got into my first kind of real, spent $2,500 on a program and got into there. And really, that was like that's when I feel like I really started this journey, like on a serious note. I actually got some true education, got some kind of a strategy outside of just trying to wing it on my own. And that's really what kind of started it. Really, I feel like got this thing going. And let's see, you can cut me off right here. I can stop or I can keep going. You let me know.
Let's keep going, man. This is just brilliant.
I love it, man. No, perfect. So like I said, I got that. Obviously they get you in, but then I kind of realized they were going more so towards the paid ads route, right? Nothing wrong with paid ads. At the end of the day, it's a powerful thing, but I realized not even on my own, I was doing that program for about a month. And then I was about to even get everything set up. Once again, this is, like I said, September 1st, I got into that. It was right around the beginning of August, like first day of October. And I ran to somebody who said, hey man, I like what you're doing over there, but let's see if we can switch things up here about your traffic approach. So that's really when all of a sudden I got introduced to this kind of organic world. And so then at that point, I was really I had like spent like $300 on ads at that point. I fortunately broken even. So I kind of spent 300, made 300. I feel like I stopped because it probably would have went a lot worse if I kept going. So I kept pushing from there. And then at that point, started off promoting this kind of value ladder offer, low ticket to the high ticket there. I did it for like a month. I ended up making like this is in October we're talking. I'm actually probably mid-September to October. Did it for a month, made about 7-8 low ticket sales. So kind of got that confidence going with this organic strategy a little bit. And then I realized, you know what? All right, how can I take this organic thing to the next level? And that's really when, and also get myself in the hands of a true high ticket offer and not this low ticket, making $2 commission here, and really get myself to where I can start hitting some goals. Like I said, I've already spent time doing this, working in a studio, making minimum wage, trying to make money. Like, this isn't why I got into this thing. So then that's when, welcome SAA. I went ahead and I jumped in there, and then that's when I feel like everything really honestly started kicking off. I never had any kind of $1,000 day. Like I said, I probably made about 30-40 bucks in my online affiliate marketing journey at that point. And so now, fortunately, like I said, I already kind of had an idea of this organic thing, but then diving into the training really, and I was a big guy on jumping on sales calls. Like, that was kind of something where I still even preach that all the time. I try and slow down these days, but at the end of the day, like, that was for a long time, and even till now, if I'm being honest, it's a big part of my strategy. So I was watching even like the messenger secret, I forget even what it's called there, your secret messenger FB sales weapon, it was called back in the 1.0, maybe it's changed up now, but using that, kind of adapting it to my phone script a little bit. And 2 weeks after joining SAA, I got my first high ticket sale. Obviously, Jacob knows about that little story there. Realistically, that high ticket sale did not turn out so hot, where the guy ended up refunding it, and I'm sure we'll talk about that later a bit. But at the end of the day, I was still pretty jacked up. I remember that night when I got that first high ticket sale. I got my daughter was about a year and a half at the time. We were running around. We played I Got a Feeling by Black Eyed Peas like 10 times in a row. We were hyped as ever. I'm telling, like, she didn't know why we were pumped up, but I'm telling you could feel it, man. That was like honestly like the time that I realized, like, man, why? And even after I refund, well, I'll talk about that in a sec too, but man, like, just prove like this thing can freaking work. I think that's what it really was for me. That's why it's almost like, not to say I've never been as pumped up at that moment, but that was like truly the eye opener. Because it's always, you hear, it feels like a lot of talk, a lot of hype. People really getting $1,000 days. What kind of nonsense is that? Like, I don't believe it. I'm an accountant here. Like, stop lying to me. Like, I need a degree. I need to do this. Like, it's like, come on now. So that just like really, I think just because once again I'd already gotten some sales, but nothing like that. So that just like really pumped me up through. And then I think like 24 to 36 hours later, the saga changed up a little bit. The guy ended up getting a refund, but at the end of the day, I think even honestly past that, like, we talked about this before where, that could really get you down. And honestly, like, maybe for a few hours a day, maybe 2 days, it got me down a little bit. But at the end of the day, I always saw that as my first high ticket sale. Like, forget any refund, forget anything like that. I closed the guy. I made this thing happen. I was like, I can do this again, no problem. I can do this again, no problem for sure. Right.
Let me jump in. Let me jump in here. There's a really fucking good. There's a really good lesson here.
Oh, there's a great story here. Okay.
So Justice makes this sale, and he was relatively fresh to it, and I'm like, who is this guy? That's cool, because whenever someone jumps in and gets a win like that, as a program creator, you always want to see who is it, what are they doing, who is this person, because it's awesome to see. And while we've got hundreds and hundreds of students, we do our best to keep our finger on the pulse. With new people, with people who have been around for a while, just probably to our own detriment to a degree, because it can slow down growth, but that's a story for another day. Anyway, Justice, I was like, good on you, man. Anyway, I wake up one day and I got a barrage of messages from some name I don't recognize, and this guy's going off his tree about all kinds of wild accusations, like very, very aggressive shit. And I gave him an opportunity to explain himself, and he wasn't talking logic. Essentially, he didn't want to take responsibility for the fact that he'd completed the purchase himself. My guess is his wife probably didn't like the fact he'd spent a bunch of money or something, and couldn't own up to the fact that he'd done it, despite the fact he'd been through Justice's process, our process. Like it's like driving from where Justice is to Australia and then being like, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. It's like, no, you did. You had plenty of hours to think about it.
Like, come on now, man.
Yeah. And honestly, probably a bullet dodged. If someone can't take responsibility for completing a purchase, are they really going to take responsibility for the actions necessary in order to actually do anything with that information? So, but the good point of the story here is that I ended up on a phone call with Justice at like midnight one night, just saying, look, dude, I'm so sorry. we have to refund this guy. Like, I can't deal with this shit. And I know it's your first one, but like, I can't remember exactly what I said. I was pretty tired, but I was like, we'll be fine. We'll sort it out.
Yeah, man.
We'll get
You said you got your process down clearly, so you're basically it'll happen again.
Yeah. And I can relate to that. I was just telling the boys before the call, like my first 2 or 3 legendary sales when I got into the high ticket game were refunded, and I was talking to their support, and I'm like, fuck, is this normal? And they're like, nah, it's like just yours. I was like, okay. So yeah, you know, that could cause people to stop, right? They could get scared. They might think, oh, I'm doing it wrong or whatever. But yeah, so it's cool to see that almost like just pulled that slingshot back a little bit further, and you've really carried on with it.
Appreciate that.
Interesting story anyway.
Man, no, seriously, and honestly, I try to tell people now too, where like honestly, my wife, you know, she's extremely supportive now, but going into this, I'd invested, like I said, I invested in another program before, invested in SAA, invested in a mentor. It's like all of a sudden these things are stacking up, and it's like even though that happened, I was like, there is no turning back either way. Like realistically, even though this thing happened, I gotta keep pushing forward, and you know, kind of that whole mentality of, am I gonna make these investments for nothing? I could easily stop now and just call it quits, but at the end of the day, then all of that it's gone, it's in the wind, you're never getting it back, right? And so I just knew, like I said, I probably was down for maybe 6 hours a day, 2 days, but I just had to really push through that, honestly. And even to go like kind of fast forward now a little bit, where that happened, I think, you know, middle of November, I think. Somewhere around that time, maybe it was middle of November, early November, something like that. And long story short, November went through, and almost until like December 30th went through, where I did not get a single SA high ticket sale. And once again, this is my primary offer, that's what I was promoting. I did get about 4 maybe SAI sales, but once again, kind of back to the mentality, it's like I didn't get into this to make $500. At least that's kind of what, you know, I wasn't satisfied, to say the least. And like I said, I'm a guy who is trying to be super consistent. I was jumping on phone calls. I tell people during December, I remember I was talking to someone, I paid for like some little $17 mini course. They did like a little one-on-one call, just like the little strategy session, they called it. And they're like, all right, so like how many, how's your process going? How many calls you booking? I'm like, I'm booking 10 to 15 calls a week. And I remember she was like, dang, well, at least you're like, you're taking action over there. Something's just not clicking. So I just remember, hearing that. And at the end of the day, I'm like, damn, just keep going. Like, obviously they see I'm doing something right. I got some people supporting me, SA supporting me, saying like, you can do this thing. So at the end of the day, month and a half, 2 months without getting a high ticket sale, once again, I even feel like that could break you a little bit. Even though taking that many calls, talking to this many people, and just still not getting where you want to be. And then fortunately, New Year's Eve, December 31st, got my next high ticket sale at SAA. Not even my next, technically my first real one, we'll call it, right? So I got my first
one that
real high ticket. For the one that stuck, exactly. Yeah. I got my first high ticket there. So boom, you know what? $12.50 commission there, like jacked up. I wasn't even dancing at that one. I was like, no, like we're still focused. We're still no more Black Eyed Peas. We're staying focused. We're on the right. So got that December 31st. Literally, New Year's Eve comes. January 1st. Next high ticket sale. Boom, just like that. Another $1,000 a day. $2,500 out of nowhere. I'm feeling like the juices are pumping. The juices are flowing. Then all of a sudden, 5 days later, next high ticket sale. Then I'm looking at a 4K, damn near a 4K week, just under. All of a sudden, it's like I'm just feeling this momentum, but once again, I feel like this is. You can probably say this about me right now. Still, it's like I'm always looking for more. Realistically, even whatever kind of success I got till now, it's like I always kind of see it as a milestone, a check mark. Keep it. There's always something further I'm pushing towards, and that's probably to my own detriment, realistically, where I should celebrate a bit more on some of these wins. But at the end of the day, like I'm like, all right, how I kind of saw it was leverage. Like now I got something that works. Like I got results now. Even like the training, we talk about how at first you really have to leverage your community's results. And I'm like, all of a sudden, like now I got this thing going. I can really use this myself in conversation. Say, hey, I've gotten results with this. I know this stuff works. Like maybe, if there's so many things that could be in that person's mind, but hey, I can help you with this. And that's one thing where I've even always been big with my affiliate offers. is offering support. I know even in the training, Jacob talks about that too. It's like realistically, I found this to be one of the best things to really add there, and where I'm like, hey, at the end of the day, this SA program is amazing, and I want to help you go through it too. And so that was one thing I was always big on, really pushing to people like, hey, at the end of the day, let's do this together here. And that, like I said, that was big for me in that first kind of 3.5, 4K week there. And then in reality, I'll kind of not cruise to this next part, but long story short, I started tacking on a little bit of additional coaching on top of the affiliate. January turned into my first 15K month out of nowhere. Just kept on going with the sales in that part. Kind of took a step back. I remember at this point now, that was after that first 15K month, obviously still hype, but then I'm still working my accounting job. It's like the game, I'm not at a point where I feel like I can quit yet. It's like, I got to keep this thing pushing. I remember I got on a phone call. Jacob had a little deal there with Jamie at the time for, I forget how much it was, $500 or so, some little sweet deal. I'm like, an hour with these guys, like, let me just check in with them, see what I can get for them. I'm sure there's gonna be something. And I remember talking to them too, and they're like, just if you keep on doing the same thing that you're doing right now, you're going to end up making it so that you're going to be supporting people 24/7. You have no time to make no more sales. Your business is going to be all out of funk, and you're just going to have like ups and downs like crazy. So I remember in February, that's really when I took a step back, kind of adjusted the support I was giving to people, and adjusted the way that I was going about it, getting things like, they showed me on the call, like things like contracts, getting things, having people kind of having ways to, help people be accountable, just ways to really make it so that I can be most efficient in how I'm supporting people while not blocking up my calendar. Because once again, I'm working 40 hours a week at an accounting job. How can I give people support, continue to make sales while I'm doing that? And that was something that was really big there. Honestly, that changed everything for me. So I remember in February, it was a slower month for me. Technically, it was still a 6-7K month, honestly, for me there. So at the time, I'm like, it wasn't a right. I'm like, it wasn't a 10K month. So I'm like, come on, man, what's going on? Right. So kind of, but it was really, I even look back, it was all about stepping back and just making sure. It's like learning from so many people have said it, like Jacob, Jamie, Jordan Belfort. A lot of these people, I'm a big Jordan Belfort guy. Always talking about like, learn from my mistakes. I remember him saying, he's like, hey, he kind of got in trouble because he just was pushing sales too much. And I feel like that's exactly what Jacob and Jamie were saying there, where get the systems in place, get yourself set up to where you can actually handle the amount of volume that's coming in, instead of just taking on. And then like they were telling me, I'm not gonna be able to actually continue getting sales. It's gonna just be this roller coaster ride consistently. Obviously, high ticket can be that roller coaster, but I wanted to really dial it in. So February, I really focused on my offer and ways to improve it, ways to improve my support. And then kind of like as Jay mentioned before, in March, fast forward, I kind of added a little bit of a group coaching, right? And that's when I got hit my first 30K month there. And really, once again, at that point, I was like, I need to quit this dang 9-to-5 job. I didn't even yet, but I was like, man, I need to get out of here, man. This was
what, March, did you say?
This is March. Yeah, this is March, man. Yeah. So that's,
Can we pause on the support for a second and dive into that a little bit? I think that's a good topic. I mean, the folks in SAA have heard this, so they can go make a cup of tea or pour a glass of tequila. But for the folks in Jamie's group, in my group, who either aren't in SAA or whatever, but you want to do affiliate stuff, your support is one of the quickest things that you can add as a bonus to any offer, affiliate or otherwise, right? And I think where people get hung up on it is, Dave, tea or tequila, nothing in between. I could go on a t-shirt. The thing about support people get stuck on is they feel like they don't have any capacity to add any support. Initially, I kind of think about it like the piano lesson analogy, kind of, you got to stay one lesson ahead of the student. But it's something that you can bolt on really, really quickly. And from a psychology perspective, it plays into something really powerful, which is people just don't want to feel like they're going through something alone. They want to know that there's somebody there to help them. They want to know that there's somebody there to reach out to them, or that they can reach out to, all that kind of stuff. So it works, and it's something that you can do very, very quickly. And it doesn't have to be techie. You don't have to have all these different Slack threads with complex shit. Like, it could be the most basic. when I first started adding support with these people, ClickFunnels, I was doing unlimited messenger support if you got a free trial with ClickFunnels. Which then if it
I'm still
converted
milking mine.
yeah, exactly. He's still fucking here. I can't get rid of him.
Still milking it.
Lifetime deal.
I've really got to increase that price than the $38.80 commission that I get. So that's what it was. And look, I'm not saying, yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying go and do that, but I'm telling you, like, we all start somewhere, and then that can, increase pretty aggressively. But it's a great place to start.
Keep going.
I was going to say, I think, because a lot of people think, well, if I'm relatively new, what do I have to offer in terms of support? But one thing I often tell people is most people don't want a guru. They don't need someone who's zapping around in private jets. They just want someone, as Jacob mentioned, just to kind of guide them through that process. And that's just as how you sort of framed that before, is that let's go on this journey together type thing, which I think is massively powerful. So don't underestimate what you can offer to your audience, basically.
Absolutely. And sometimes I'll even tell students I'm talking to where I go back and forth with it sometimes, because the reality of it is the support that I was offering, and this is kind of something we even talked about in that call too with Jacob and Jamie, where I was offering, I remember 3 months, every week we get in a Zoom call. And I remember looking back, I'm like, dang, that's a lot of time. That's a lot of support to be giving somebody one-to-one call everything. And realistically, I was showing up. I remember even there was people where they didn't show up to a few weeks, and I would I didn't end the 3 months. I was like, no, we'll get all 12 calls in. I'm here to help you. And I remember thinking, as I tell that to people, I'm like, shoot, realistically, and everyone's different. Use whatever your schedule's looking like, take advantage. I just know for myself, as we talked about, it got me that 4K week, so I don't regret it by any means. At the end of the day, it was a long grind, but it got me that kind of results. And now all of a sudden, as I mentioned, leverage came out of that. So almost like this unlimited messenger. It's like, yeah, it sounds crazy, but look at the steering wheel you got back there, right? Mm-hmm. It's like at the end of the day, this is the reason we're trying to offer these kind of support, offer these bonuses. So I definitely don't regret doing that there.
I kind of wanted to circle back for a moment there, because there was something that you said before. There was a lot of things you said before. One, self-taught music producer, holy crap, that's amazing. That was way back at the beginning. I jotted that down. So I'm like, seriously, you self-taught? Come on, man. But the other thing were you there was a point where if you're booking 10 to 15 calls per week, did you know that in your mind, you're like, there's something I'm doing that's pretty damn good. There is something I must be heading in the right direction at least, because I think that in itself is massively powerful.
I think that I didn't really, honestly. I think that's one of those things where I was just grinding, because at the end of the day, I wasn't getting sales out of it. So I'm like, man, this is in my mind, I'm like, this is cool, but this isn't working out. It wasn't until I kind of had that.
Buy some stuff.
I'm like, man, another no, right? And then I remember even when we had that kind of the chat there, like I said with Jacob and Jamie, I remember you guys even mentioned that was one thing there. I think there was a couple of people on the call, and I was like, I was taking calls all the time, and I was focusing on closing sales on the phone. And I just remember you guys were even almost saying that it's no wonder that, not it's no wonder, but there's a pattern there a little bit. And once again, it's like I don't really know what anyone else is doing. In my eyes, it's always like, hey, stay focused on what you're doing. Just all I can do is keep grinding and keep moving. I'm not really too worried about the noise. Obviously, you can get worried by X guy's results over there, right? Very easily in this world. So I think I was just really trying to tune everything out, and I was just, like I said, I'm just grinding. And all I knew at that point was I'm booking calls, but I'm not getting sales, so something's up. So, yeah.
I think it was it Churchill that said something along the lines of success is going from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm. I think that kind of highlights that pretty accurately. Because
I think that was Chris that said that.
Yeah, Chris.
There we go.
Yeah. Who speaks every 30 minutes, but it's really profound every time
he just loads up the perfect quote.
Yeah, I've got it. Been working on this one for ages. But I think that's massively important to understand, is that you didn't kind of just go, this shit doesn't work, I'm out of here. affiliate marketing is a big lie. I'm not going to do this anymore. It's just like, cool, okay. Something like I'm not making sales, but like I'm just going to focus on this one pathway. And I just know that there must be like something I need to improve along the way, or another skill that I need to gain in order to get me to the next rung of the ladder, so to speak, which I think is awesome.
Absolutely there. Absolutely.
Can I say something?
Yes, Jacob.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Gardner. I think the other good point that I take out of what you just said, Jamie, off the back of what Justice just said, off the back of what Chris said in silence, is I'm waiting for that. The ticker, this ticker's going 25 minutes, and we're going to get an absolute gem out of Chris.
Wait for the bomb.
Yeah.
No, I think what you said there set off something in my head, which is sticking at it and refining it and stuff. I think one thing that Justice has done very well, and this is a shift that happens for most people that stick with this game, is you go from every investment, every purchase, be it a course, a mentor, whatever, where people are early days and they're jumping around. To me, it feels like every time they're trying to throw that, fourth down, Hail Mary, 3 seconds to go in the Super Bowl to land to win it all. Whereas what really should happen is you get that foundation in place, and then you start looking at the pieces of it and going, okay, what logically, not emotionally, logically looking at the pieces and going, okay, what part's not working? And then you start to make strategic investments accordingly to fix or improve that part of it. And I think that's where you can very quickly see improvements. Yeah, go ahead.
Spot on there. I think that even looking back, that's exactly how it went for me. I realized when I started with my original offer, my original program I started with, it was on a traffic way that I might have went broke if I would have kept going down that route. So I switched, and I fortunately got a mentor at least opened my eyes to organic. I kept going. I realized I want some kind of a true high ticket offer. Welcome SAA and a bunch of another amazing training, right? Now keep going from there. I felt like I didn't need anything else. Like there was no other extra investments between then and the end of January there. It was just me diving in because I knew I had my high ticket tool. Like, this is what I wanted to promote. I can get $1,000 deal with this. This is what everyone's talking about. This is what I want to do. So absolutely there. And then kind of once again, being very strategic, just kind of off the back end of that, I linked up with that kind of quick little, throw together offer you and Jamie put there, and got a ton of more stuff to just sharpen the direction I'm going in. I feel like that's something where I try to do that, even to this day, be very intentional with the investments I'm making. Like something that I know is pushing me continuously down that path, but save myself from headaches and save myself from failures. It doesn't mean I didn't need another high ticket offer. I had a great one. Another one wasn't going to be the magical difference. It's like, at the end of the day, you got to have these skills in marketing and sales to get the sale to happen in the first place. Yeah. So I support that.
How do you, in the situation where things weren't quite working out initially, how do you analyze that and go, like, it's me, there's something I'm not doing that I need to improve to actually start getting results? Like, because I think it's easy sometimes when you're not seeing the fruits of your labor to kind of go, fuck it, this is not working. Like, something's broken and I need to head over this direction instead. And so I think it takes quite a specific mindset to just go, no, this is on me. Like, if other people are doing it, this is something else. I just need to adjust to get there. So is there a process that you follow for that, or like any kind of tip?
I do kind of remember, like I said, that kind of first one kicked in right before the new year. And I remember I was booking, like I said, 10 to 15 calls in December. And I remember I had a mentor at the time too, and he was like, kind of what's going on here, right? So I sent him one of the recordings of the calls I had. And I remember he was being like, man, you're being too nice to these people. Like, he's like, you're not like, in a way that it's like, it's just by, he was saying that specifically when it came to me even putting the pitch out there. It was like, when it comes to building rapport, it's like, shoot, that niceness, that keep that style, that just being happy, that's working great for you. You're getting great rapport here. So what's the problem? So like, once again, like, just little, it's always the little things, right? So that little tweak there, at least to me mentally, like I said, that next week, that's when the magic really kicked in. That 4K week kind of kicked in there. So that's kind of was a nice little push to refine the process. But it's like obviously that was just one little thing. There's been so much that's led to that, and I think just the whole being consistent up to that. I think like we talk about, right? Kind of even with stuff as basic as RVL, it's like keeping the content going. That was one thing too I learned from everyone here, where how big pre-framing is, like, right? Getting people to understand like how your authority before you even get on the phone call. At the end of the day, if they get to your profile and you post once a week, or you're randomly here, it's hurting you. And that was one thing that definitely hit home for me too. Those kind of two pieces for sure.
A question for you.
Can I? Oh yeah, go Chris. Yes.
Whoa.
Yeah, a word in.
Sorry, mate.
No, you're all good. I'm just wondering how much you feel those like second, third, and fourth sales came quickly after. How much of that was because your confidence was building and you were detaching from the neediness and that whole piece? I think that's often the case. And also, when you were giving support at the beginning, a lot of people are like, I'm not giving that level of support to 100 people, but they're thinking too far ahead. It's like you're giving it to one person and you can scale it back as you get more people on board. So just on those 2 points.
Absolutely. And even on the second one, that's exactly what I felt. They were realistically, like I said, I would not go back on that. I would 100%. I'm glad I did the 3-month support. It got me to where I am right now. Like realistically, it was a lot. And even as it was dwindling off, I'm like, man, this was tough, but that was just a stepping stone. Because I think that is huge there. So true. The whole detaching. At the end of the day, that's like so much authority in its own, right? It's like I'm getting on these calls. I'm coming off of $1,000 day from yesterday. Like I said, December 31st, I got a sale. Now I'm on a call January 1st. I'm like, man, line them up. Like, come on. Like, hey, you want this or not? I'm ready. Like, hey, I'm here to help you. I'm confident that I can help you. I just got a sale yesterday. I mean, I'm not saying that, but it's like, hey, I'm here pumped up, like, and carrying that energy through. I think that's very much affected that. I feel like I'd be lying if I said it wasn't, if I just was still staying on the same grind. I think that definitely helped a lot.
But I think the big point for you is that's the pressure that everyone feels at the beginning. And those who don't get that first breakthrough are like getting to a worse spot as time goes on. Whereas you stuck with it and ground through that whole beginning process, which is really crucial. I think that's the key thing I take away from your story.
Oh, thank you, man. I absolutely there. And that kind of goes back to the whole mindset, right? That's why it's the first, letter in Maca right there. Because at the end of the day, without that, you're gonna crumble. I mean, like I said, in a nice way. I'm trying to be, just straightforward here. It's gonna be tough, right? I went, and that's just my story where I went 45, 60 days without a high ticket sale, going through a refund. Obviously, there's people who go even longer, and they're right, they go even longer.
Yeah. In some ways, it was worse for you. It's like you got up the hill and fell backwards and rolled behind the start line. You got a breakthrough and I thought, wait a minute.
And one big thing too there, I said it already, but I truly still felt that was my first high ticket sale. Like I told people that was, but at the end of the day, I just knew I knew it could be done at that point. So in my heart, my mind, it validated it. Yeah. So even though I don't have the $1,000 in my bank account to say, yeah, this happened, it still happened. That's what I felt.
Yeah, you did it, man. That's the thing. And it's proof of concept for yourself. And I think sometimes that's what people need, is that it's hard when you're on the outside looking in. You're seeing people making sales on what seems like a relatively consistent basis, and you're going, what the fuck am I doing wrong? Like, and then it's not until you actually go through that process. And it's interesting when you're talking before, it sort of echoes how my kind of big break sort of happened. I had one sale. I'm like, dancing around for joy. They didn't refund, thankfully. But then the next day, another one came about, and I'm like, holy crap, I didn't fluke it. This is amazing. And it just that energy carries forward, and it's kind of like, yep, okay, I get it. I can do it now. All this time that I've been honing in these skills and focusing, it comes out the other side, which is pretty cool.
Absolutely there.
One thing I kind of thought was a pretty good discussion point is, because it sounds like you've had a ton of yes, Jacob.
Can we just go back on sorry, I know we're all over the place, but on the detaching thing before we move on from it. We just had another example of someone who joined, and I was talking to him about. Jamie's spoken about this with the SAA folks before, and that these unicorn hunting concept. And if you haven't heard that, you're going to think we're
It's
whatever.
actually a show now as well. So
Awesome.
stole
Yeah.
your content.
I
Let
saw
me just
that.
add, the unicorn is the national creature of Scotland as well. For those who don't
There you
know.
go.
Probably shouldn't be hunting them then.
Look at that.
Chris is a unicorn.
You'll be
Yeah,
hunting a
Chris
whale.
is our unicorn. So I was talking to him, and he's come in and shot the lights out real quick, and I was trying to understand what he was doing, and he's like, he's because detaching is a nice word to throw around, like removing yourself mentally from the outcome is kind of what it means practically. And I said, what is that? Because he said, when I understood that, it really shifted. And I said, but practically, like, what does that mean? And he's like, oh, well, I started, and I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this. I'm sure he won't, because I think it's a really powerful lesson in it. He's like, I started sending people over to your YouTube channel. I was like, that's really interesting. So, like, explain that to me. He's like, well, that they want to know more about the person behind the program. They want to know that they're legitimate. They want to know that they're a real person who, is in the game doing this stuff every day. And my YouTube channel's got way too many videos on it. And he's like, I told them to go watch some of your videos and see that you're a real person. And he's like, and so that little action there of pushing someone away to go watch a video, the abundant perspective that takes of, oh no, I might lose the lead or the sale, is ridiculously powerful. To actually push someone away and go, no, that's cool. Don't buy now. Go watch some videos of this guy and see if you feel like he can help you or not, and then come back to me. The strength in that positioning is unbelievable. Like, it cannot be understated. Like, it's so powerful to push someone away and go, you go do this thing in your own time, and let me know what you think. So I guess that's just a real world example of detaching from the outcome. If people are going there, but that's a nice theoretical concept. That's a real world practical example of someone going, go away, think about it, take this action step, and come back to me. That's the genuine definition of doing it.
Man,
Yeah.
that just reminds me of this whole kind of thing where how valuable planting the seed is. And I feel like we talk about this. We say it's a marathon, not a sprint. The longer that I've been in this, the more I've realized. I was, last month, I closed someone who we had our first conversation in January, right? So at the end of the day, we sometimes want to push for this, get this sale now. And then by the time 3 months happens, you maybe feel like you haven't got the sales you wanted. And now you take a step back and you leave for a month, you leave for 2 months, decide to come back. Like you could have just lost out on so much in your business potentially. That's why, even in the 30K month I mentioned in March, that was, I had a 9K week in there, or I think 9K cash week in there. And that was from 3 sales that happened, all from older leads there. And then add that to the combined hustle that you're doing day in and day out. It's like, that's one thing that I've really noticed just super powerful in this, is that it doesn't matter kind of how many new leads, cold people I'm turning from cold to hot consistently. It's like, as long as I'm planting seeds and I'm still staying consistent with my strategy, I'm setting myself up for success. I think that's something where, especially, as I'm now not working a 9 to 5 anymore. So that's something where I try to just keep on reminding myself of that too. It's like, maybe I don't have anything like super deep into my pipeline right now, but at the end of the day, there is so much out there being planted, so much value I'm giving out there to people every day. And I know it's every day because I got videos planted out there in my groups and etc. Website is like, they can find it. And once they get into this, like we say, ecosystem a bit, it's almost a matter of time, right? And you try and be genuine about stuff. The more that you kind of detach, you let people just, all of us here have certain personalities that are just unique here. So at the end of the day, people are going to resonate with me sometimes more than they resonate maybe with any of you three, and vice versa. So it's like, just understand that is the reality of it. And that's going to help you a lot there. Absolutely. That's easier said than done though, right? Like you said, you throw the word out, but it's not easy at first.
What I was going to say before, Jacob, was one of the I think an interesting talking point is, you have a family, and so you have a family. You were working full time, 40 plus hours, let's assume, in a role that takes a fair chunk of brain power, if I understand correctly. And so I'm really curious how and if you were able to find some level of balance in all that at all.
Oh man, I mean, once again, my wife, she loves me. Obviously, she wants me to be around. So that was tough. That was tough for sure, man. That was tough. It was. Waking up. I'll say this: we all got 24 hours in a day, right? So I was definitely right now. I still the kind of guy who wakes up at 5:30 in the morning, just because I wake up, then I'll work out, and now I get to kind of ease into my day a bit more. Luckily, but I had to just as soon as I'm waking up, just start working. Right, start working on the affiliate marketing stuff because fortunately during all this I was working remote because of COVID and everything. So that made this all that much more doable. So now I don't have to clock in until 8:39, and now so the way I saw it, I got all this time before to really put an energy there. But it's tough though. It's tough there. But at the end of the day, I mean, it got me where I'm at now. Right, nobody got to someplace they wanted to be by just kind of winging it. I'll just coast. I won't take many sacrifices. Like at the end of the day, I'm taking calls at night. Like that's at the reality. My wife doesn't like me working at night, but I'm like, man, I'm sorry to make you upset tonight, but I got this call here today. I got
30 grand.
That's what I'm trying to wear, but she's like, man, forget that, man. Come on, come get this video. We got your kids here, but she's super supportive, though. I'm telling you, but it's tough though. It's especially because reality, I was doing this, really super hard intensely for 3-4 months plus, especially until that March came, and I'm doing all these hours, and it's not as much to show for yet. Even you get your first 10K month, I always tell people it's just because you get your first 10K month doesn't mean you should go quit your job. I got 2 kids, I got a wife, I got a house here. I can't just say, all right, this thing's good, I'm out of here. You got to make sure that security's in place.
I had a 1,000. Sorry, you go, Chris.
No, I was just going to say very quick. I was going to say a quick relationship tip: set your commission emails to go to your wife's account. Thank you later.
So she gets the ding right there.
Yeah.
Genius.
She become addicted to you working and making money.
Not too late to do that. That's a good idea, man.
There you go. Hi, Jamie.
I was just going to say that I quit my job after I had my first $500 month. So,
man, good for you. I couldn't.
Yeah.
Man. I couldn't.
I was well and truly ready to leave that place anyway. So
and
that's a story for another time.
Too. No, there's plenty of people who are like that too, and obviously it's what's Tony Robbins say, right? Burn your boats, burn whatever his saying is there. Burn the boats and just go. It's obviously that works too. It's the accounting mindset. It's man, I gotta have money in the bank. I know this thing works. I gotta make sure we're good.
I was going to follow up by saying that I made life incredibly difficult for myself for a couple of years before things kind of took off. So, but don't do as Justice does, not what I do. Okay, for anyone taking notes at home.
And even on top of that too, I did a post about it back in February, whenever maybe it was March. We were pretty deep in debt as well as I'm making these investments. So once again, even kind of back to the whole having the right mindset. I'm $20,000 in debt. I'm continuously investing, so the debt's cracking up, going higher and higher. Do I stop because I haven't made a high ticket sale? Do I stop because this hasn't worked for a couple months? Because if I do, now I just have my accounting money that's the only way I'm going to get this back realistically. My 9-to-5 job, and I know how long that's going to take.
Earnings, right?
That's capped out, right? Yeah. Exactly. So, yeah. To me, there was no other choice. Yeah.
So that's just on that one. So you're in a state. It's interesting because historically, when I was in debt, it would make me be desperate, but that desperation would come across, and I would actually repel opportunity. And so that's my mindset. That's how I operate. But obviously, you're on the other side of that spectrum, which is shit, I need this to work, so I'm just gonna fucking go ahead and do it until it works. I think that's
pretty much
powerful.
Yeah, taking 10 to 15 calls a week and still I still got to keep it going. Maybe I need 20 to 30 calls a week. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I need to do something. This thing's gotta work here.
But I like the fact that you didn't deviate though. That I think is also incredibly powerful. Something that we talk about quite a lot is focus and your ability just to go, no, more calls, less time with the family, less time.
I mean, I think, because in my mind, I knew that, and honestly, in my mind too, I knew that there's a chance that I'd have to go back to work in April, back into the office in April. So I knew that if this thing's going to happen, there was always a clock. And honestly, like in reality, that ended up getting pushed back until the summertime. But I never knew that was going to get pushed back. So in reality, I knew that there was like an end game that this had to work until. If I go back in the office, I didn't think I would have as much success. It'd be a lot harder. I couldn't jump on calls. So I was like, yeah, that was all really pushing me. It's now or never, really. And I truly believe that too. If COVID would have happened, this would have been a lot longer of a ride, I feel. To get to this point, for sure.
What's your real name? I feel like you've got a superhero name. I feel like I need to change my name up. Like a Marvel character or something.
No, man. Justice, government name and all. Oh, I'm telling. Hey, I'd show you my birth certificate, but we don't have to do that here today.
The cool name.
Appreciate that, man. It's no Chris, but you know it'll do.
Yeah, this is far better. I think we need to switch.
So for the folks watching at home, what is some, I guess, major tips that you can kind of identify, both from a mindset perspective, like ability perspective, like all that stuff that has kind of allowed you to have these breakouts and push forward and keep going and all that sort of stuff?
I think part of it is big thing right now in this whole kind of game is, all you need to do is put out content. You never have to get in a phone call. You barely even need Messenger. Just put out a greght post, send someone your affiliate link. Money's gonna start pouring in, right? I feel like sure.
You guys not do that? Oh, whoops.
I don't know the secrets that everyone else knows. Shoot, right? So I feel like I don't know. Part of it, and maybe call this mindset call, whatever. A part of it is, once again, my goal is to obviously help as many people, and in return, I'll be able to get some high ticket sales and start to get some, hopefully, potentially 10K months that everyone's talking about. I just think that people get really bogged down by thinking, I don't want to do this because I don't like doing that. I don't want to do this because I don't like doing that. At the end of the day, it doesn't last. You don't have to do it forever, right? Who loves doing cold outreach? Who loves even putting out content every day, right? Even that can be a drag, right? At the end of the day, right? Staying consistent with that. Either way you look at it. And so I think that, putting to the side what you don't want to do. Would I prefer not to wake up at 5:30 and, not have to miss out on some dinners with my kids and my wife because I have to do this? It's temporary. I think I always knew it's temporary, right? And that's kind of where everyone's, not that I cared about living a laptop lifestyle on the beach. Like for me, just being able to work from my home with my family, like that was the goal I had in mind. So at the end of the day, I know this isn't going to be a 9-to-5 thing forever, or if I want it to be, it's because I'm choosing it's going to be. That's how I saw it. That's how I saw the future. So I would say, don't let little things like that stop you. I guess don't let just because you don't feel like doing something. Because at the end of the day, I don't know. Affiliate marketing is such a sweet way to get into and really get some cash flow going in as an online business compared to drop shipping, e-com, all this stuff. There's so many upfront costs you have to do. It's like there's so much potential to go from nothing to something. And so don't let something that you really don't, you feel like, unless like you feel like, I don't know, like you're religiously, you feel like I shouldn't be messaging people I don't know. Like, I'm not going to say anything about that. But at the end of the day, it's like, if it's just because you feel like, I don't feel like doing that, I don't know. It's just temporary. Just push through it. Am I wrong for saying that? That's how I feel.
No, man, this is amazing. This is, I think everyone needs to hear this because like what you're like, if I was just contract that slightly, you're talking about delayed gratification. And I don't think people they don't understand the time frame. Like, Jacob before, like I was joking about how I'm still getting, for that trial, he's still giving me unlimited free access or whatever. But he had to do the grunt work to start with. He still does the grunt work now, but it's that thing of like making those short-term sacrifices to be able to live the life that you choose to down the track. Putting in the grunt work and making those sacrifices, like waking up at 5:30. I don't want to do that, but it's the thing that you do in order to achieve your goals. Like you say, it's not going to be forever. It's about cutting your teeth and getting that level of credibility when you can start ascending away from doing those kind of laborious tasks. And I think people lose sight of that a lot. So it's quite refreshing to hear that.
Absolutely there, man. And even to kind of just put some specific examples there, I was doing a ton of cold outreach in the beginning, and not to say I don't do any cold outreach now, but in reality, I think I was just telling this to Jacob the other day. It's like Before, I was just going strictly like profile, and I had a group. I couldn't have cared about that group at all. It was like, I'm just relying on this profile. I don't care about getting warm leads. It's like, I'm just trying to get this cold thing going. And now, fast forward to today, I was just like, not even on purpose, but just like in reality, I've looked at the data. I've looked at who I've made sales to, how these sales have come to life. And all of a sudden, it's like I'm realizing these are coming from warmer leads. These are coming from people who have been watching what I've been doing. It's like there was a conversation that happened 2 weeks ago, a month ago. We didn't just meet today and all of a sudden a sale had happened. Because that's all I wanted. Like, not to say it would be same day type sale, but I was looking to meet someone and hopefully within the next couple of days I could get a sale out of them, right? And now things have like completely switched. Yeah, I know, right? That was the mentality, man. I was like, let's just grind. And at the end of the day, too, no, that's why we talk about things like Google Docs and using content to your advantage to, move people into a messenger and not have to take as many sales calls. It's like, as you get that, you work so hard so that now all of a sudden you start to get some results. People start believing in you. You start to get a little movement going, and now that just naturally is going to make things easier, right? It's not never going to be easy, but it's helping yourself out in your business. So yeah.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
It's the right way to frame this. When you're in the weeds doing that stuff, and it's like you're pinging out a message or whatever it is, naturally the thought is around what result is that going to produce me, be it now or in the future, depending on how long you, as Jamie said, delay gratification. The unspoken or the unwritten or whatever it is, the unwritten piece of it is the skill set that you are developing in doing that. Even if that yields no immediate return, even if it yields no long-term financial return, the intangible, non-financial, not even really quantifiable return that you are getting is the development of that skill set. And if we take Messenger as an example, the ability to hold a conversation and not come across like a weirdo is unbelievably powerful. You have no idea how far you can get in this world by being able to talk.
Oh,
it is so much more about how you say it than what you say, which like it or not, that's what happens in business, right? You can get a lot done by being able to confidently deliver your message, whatever that message may be. And doing these things and practicing these things and learning these skills will give you such a strong foundation as it gets easier, right? If you can hold that conversation with a random person and turn that into some kind of relationship and then diagnose a problem and convert that into dollars, when the time comes that where Justice is now, where we're at, and you're communicating with people 90% of the time who already know you, already like you, already trust you, because you built the ecosystem that does that while you're not there, and you've put in the time, you are going to be so well armed. But it doesn't happen overnight. So you've got to look at the multiple layers of benefits that come from doing these things, not just, is this outbound going to get me $1 today?
And in a game where organic is becoming obviously more and more popular, I kind of see that. Obviously, some people will say, "Oh, well, organic's getting so popular. Like, how am I going to have success with this?" I feel like so many people. There's only so many people in SAA, right? Imagine how many other thousands of marketers out there in the world trying to do it organically. I think that a lot of them this is what I kind of express, is that they're all the ones probably just doing things. They're just winging it. They're like, "Oh, I go to a Facebook group, I message somebody, then I'm gonna start making some sales, like because somebody told me that's how it works." And like I literally just closed a sale earlier today, and this was the one that I did over the phone there, and I planted the seed. I think he got my Facebook group about a month ago, and I was just one of the things, I forget when it happened in our conversation on the phone. He was like, just the way that you approach the conversation, that's like you were different than all these other friend requests I got, different than other messages that I decided to engage with. And once again, he decided to engage with me because, once again, the brand, the authority, that obviously helps. Once again, now all of a sudden the branding's there. He wants to even have a convo. But now once you get in that conversation, like you're saying, what you say matters. At the end of the day, the old me probably would have just went forget my Facebook group, man. Let's get on a call today. Let's make this thing happen. I got this SAA thing. It's gonna blow your mind, right? But at the end of the day, just taking a step back. That's what I mean. He told me that's what did it for him. So I'm not even, this is fact that this stuff works. Just planting these seeds and once again detaching. And I think that also coming from that is once I was doing so many messenger conversations for so long, and I was still in messenger obviously all the time, but to that point, that sharpens you, right? It's like even though maybe it got me only so many sales, but at the end of the day, I know how so many conversations can go. So it's like you become an expert almost. Like I'm not to say I'm an expert, but at the end of the day, you're sharpening that skill, and that's going to help you so much more down the line compared to somebody who is just in Messenger every once in a while because they hate Messenger. I don't want to talk to anybody. I'll check my inbox once every 2 weeks, man. It's whatever. You're not going to be as with it, and it's going to slow you down a bit. So just to use the Messenger example.
Yeah, I think too many people want to be standing beside the till when the customer comes up ready to ring up the order, but they're not willing to put the work in to get them to the till. They might be standing by the door looking at a menu. They don't even know the building exists. Like they're not willing to get them to that point, and that's why they complain that everyone's like been sold to already because there's no one standing at the checkout ready to buy. You do a bit of work to get them to the checkout first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chris's analogies are so much more articulate than mine.
The wordsmith, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I miss working with that guy. Both these two.
I'm sure he'll send you an invoice if you want him to.
Telling you, hey man, I'm telling you.
Yeah, we're charging for this as well, by the way.
So, by the way, keep an eye on your email, Justice.
It's past midnight. It's normally about 1 a.m., 2 a.m. when we've been on those copy calls.
I'm telling you, man. I tell my wife all the time, like, this guy is something else.
There's a reason I've got a blue light here because it's actually pitch black out there.
That's very good.
So,
anything else, Jamie?
Yeah, I was going to ask something on a slightly more practical term is going back to when you were, like you had, respectfully, but when you're in the beginning stages, you have zero credibility, right? So I'm wondering how, from a practical perspective, how you were going, shit, yeah, I'm going to book 10 to 15 calls a week. Like who's on the other side of that equation and what are they, like, what are you kind of doing to get them to that point, so to speak, without like going, hey, I've had a 30K month type stuff. Like what's the kind of credibility builder and what are you doing to kind of like say, hey, I've got a solution for you. It's going to be freaking awesome.
And you kind of, and even in January, I was working up to that 15K month. So I didn't even have the 30K month at that time. So you're asking, how did I go about even booking all these calls in a way?
Yeah.
Like in a nutshell. I mean, I think for one, my content strategy obviously try and be humble here. My content strategy's gotten a lot better from working with guys like Chris, really understanding the best way to kind of get people to really raise their hands in your audience. For a long time, even it was just really focusing on RVL and not even too many call to actions. Really just being consistent because I felt like the branding was always going to be, at least that was going to be something that was stable. And I always even say this too. I feel like by me posting, 4 or 5 times a week, I'm automatically ahead of people who are not doing that, right? Mm-hmm. There's a jumping off point, but I'm going to have a higher chance of booking a call just off of that alone, right? Because at the end of the day, people, consistency, reality, mindset, whatever's holding them back, they're not going to be able to post that much. And that's why I even show, so I feel like I show respect to marketers I see even posting consistently. I'm like, man, once again, just kudos to you, because so many people, even when people I try to help, it's like it's tough. It's tough to stay consistent like that. So that I feel like is one thing that really helped me as far as getting calls booked. Number 2, staying in Messenger. I feel like that was really the big thing there too. Just consistently, anybody. I was trying to respond as quickly as possible, but I don't even think I try to avoid that now because I feel like that it brings authority not responding to people right away. But at the time, I was trying to respond to people all the time. It's like, shoot, I'm in my bed, like, oh, let me see what this message says here real quick. Maybe I can lock them in before I go to sleep. I think that it was just sheer persistence, just trying to grow and build my audience. At the end of the day, that's kind of when I talk about daily action plans, right? If you don't have an audience there, I got no calls to book, right? So I think that first and foremost, you need an audience and to make that audience a successful stronger audience, you need the branding. So that kind of where I felt like the content and the branding kicks in to make that audience a strong, effective audience. And as long as I continue to keep on growing that audience or increase that audience, it's going to increase my chances to now have more successful conversations. And so honestly, like I said, there's frameworks in SAA. It's just, since you do it so many times, you start to realize, I tell people all the time, it's like these conversations are different, but they're all the same. It's like, you go down the same path practically all the time there. It's just the people who are going to buy into you and are, like I said, there's some people who are going to like me less than other people. I'm embracing the ones who I feel like are gelling with me the most. And I'm putting most energy in that. I always kind of say this one thing too, where like in people like in TikTok, I feel like TikTok's amazing, right? But at the end of the day, I think a problem people have is they get a sale for someone on some kind of low ticket thing where they can potentially get $1,000 sale out of it. But they just they get the low ticket and they just forget about it. All right, cool. I'll let the team take care of it. And like, no follow-up, no nurturing that relationship. It's like, keep an eye on the people who have showed interest in you and nurture that, because those are the ones who are going to be the quote unquote people who will help elevate your game, elevate your branding, get you to start getting some results. Put the focus on them. So anytime I found someone who would at least entertain my conversations, I'm putting the most energy into them. I'm trying to give them some value in Messenger. I'm trying to say, hey, here's a little quick tip on this. Here's a little quick tip on that. Oh, nice. Awesome. Like, hey, if you want, I can help you out and, show you some stuff on a quick call. You open, you around tomorrow? Yeah, man, definitely. Rinse and repeat for anybody that I thought was gelling with me, and that's, I feel like that was it really in a nutshell, man.
Yeah, but what you've just shared is like fucking gold. And I don't know if people are going to appreciate it fully or not, but that piece there of if someone gives me some energy back, right? People talk about, like, I don't know how to pivot conversations and all that kind of stuff. We miss so many signals, right? Even when you got experience, you miss them. But early days, people miss so many signals, and it can be the smallest thing. But as you've said, someone gives you some energy back, game time. But game time doesn't mean ramming a link down their throat.
Definitely not.
Game time means there's something going on here and we can explore it. Maybe that's a 15-minute call. Maybe I send them a video. Maybe we do the full 45-minute dance. Maybe I say, hey, I'm getting interviewed in Jamie's group tomorrow. Come hang out. Like, just something to nudge it. And then in a week, in 2 weeks, if you've done something where they remember you, they'll come back. Will they all come back? No. Will some of them go to other places? Sure. But thankfully, there's a few billion people in this world.
And can we sit on this topic for a little bit, just because there's something else that I want to dive into. Obviously, I'm conscious of time as well. But the other thing, and going back to the time management stuff, is one of the things I hear pop up is people say, I just feel like it gets stuck in Messenger. Like, I don't quite know how to kind of manage time and stuff like that. Do any tips or anything that, I guess off the back of this conversation, in terms of energy flow, things like that you could probably I guess share with the audience?
That's a good one there. I feel like I've tried to done lives about this, because I feel like that is something where at the end of the day, people are almost kind of, like I said, afraid to go and check their inbox. One mentality I've always, I call it what it is. Maybe I'm just dreaming that that's what people are. Like,
no, it's very accurate. It's very accurate. There's people get inbox like trauma.
Yeah, I'm telling you,
it's a real thing.
Absolutely. So I think that for one, I think the best solution to that is having some kind of a framework, right? Part of the reason you're afraid is because you're like, I don't know what I'm going to say to this person, and probably you're afraid that you're going to lose them, right? So at the end of the day, you got to knock out that second part. Like, at the end of the day, they're going to like you or they're not going to like you. But I think having a framework there for one is going to help the mindset of, all right, I know how to handle this. Like I said a moment ago, these conversations are all different, but they're all very similar, right? So if you've already walked someone down that path before, and that's kind of something where if you're very conscious and doing this consistently, you're going to recognize different patterns. You're going to recognize when somebody likes you a bit more, and you're going to know how to actually just do what you've done in the past. If you've done something before that works, try it again, right? Best to test, right? Always just keep on testing different things. You find something that works, try it again there, And so then at that point there, secondly or third point is, I personally do not like having unread messages in my messenger inbox. So that's like a plus for me as far as making sure I'm replying to people. I just don't like seeing that blue bubble next to a name. It's like, I want to clear this stuff out. And now I get to the point where at the end of the day, it's like, I don't go and just clear them out as they come. It's more so when I go to sit down and get in my messenger, I'm making sure I clear all that out. So it's kind of like, I just know that that's what's going to happen. I know that it's going to bug me if I don't get back to these people. So that's one thing. Obviously, before I was even more intense with that, where I would try and clear them out all throughout the day, all the time. But like I said, I kind of feel like it brings some authority where they're like, hey, I sent Justice a message. He's not responding right away. I want to talk to this guy, and I'm not around. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm a busy guy. You know, I'll get back to you.
It took me 3 weeks to organize this interview, man. What the hell?
Let's get out of here. Come on. Yeah. I was pumped to respond to that message. Come on.
It's like, no, I'm just going to ignore Jamie.
To what you're talking about, those hot leads, those people who are giving you that energy in Messenger, conversation extends beyond Messenger, even though that's where the conversation's happening. So going and engaging on their content. So don't let Zuckerberg tell you who's important in your feed. Don't let him control your news feed. Go and seek out the people that are hot leads, engage on their content, watch their stories, put reactions on things, because that's going to create more and more of you visible on their top of mind type thing. So
I spoke about this in a call that I had yesterday. It's the rule of 7 in advertising, which is something that is derived from movie producers back in the late 40s, and direct response advertisers kind of ran with it. And the rule of 7 is essentially someone needs to have seen an advertisement 7 times before they're going to make a buying decision. And so you can kind of fast track that on social media. This is the beauty of it. And exactly as Chris said, you can go and do targeted engagement. You can like engage in their stories and have those touch points with your audience so they see more and more and more of you. And then hopefully start to absorb your content and then just throw their credit card at you, basically. So
that's
and I guess that concludes the interview.
Oh, we lost him.
Yeah, he's
got some leads to chase up.
Yeah, he's like, all right, time's up.
I
think his wife might have cut the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, dinner time.
And it's finished now. Bye. Oh, no, he's back.
I think another lesson that we can talk about Justice while he's not here.
He's just in the waiting room. Should I bring him in, or should we just talk?
Yeah. I'll talk. I'll talk, and he can come back in. I think one of the really cool things about Justice. I'm talking about you now, not to you, so you just sit quiet there, right? You got to wait your turn. You got to get back to the top of the line now. There's 4 people you got to go through, man. What I was just going to say is having had the opportunity to work with you in a group setting, 1-to-1, happy to say we're going to be working together for a long time to come. I think one thing that I take away from you as a coach or a mentor, or whatever you want to call it, is that you're always enjoying what you do. You have fun with it, right? You're always happy and enjoying the process. That doesn't mean it's always perfect. That doesn't mean it's always gravy. Like, shit happens. But I think it's pretty clear for most people, and you can tell via your demeanor on an interview like this, that you genuinely enjoy what you do. And I can promise you that is reflected in your conversations, in your calls, in the energy you put across in Messenger, in your content, in your lives, in when you present your offer, in every phase of it. That fact that you are genuinely passionate and enjoy what you do and enjoy having these conversations with people, and you would listen because of that, which means that the diagnosis that you give to people is going to be more in tune because you've actually listened to what they said. The constant flow and effect of you enjoying what you do and having a genuine interest in the individuals that you're talking to would have a massive impact on where you are now. If the underlying tone of the content, the conversation, the offer, any piece in between is, let's just fucking get this done, give me the money so I can move on to the next prospect. And I know there's people that think that way. I know there's people that think that way.
Yep.
You are cooked. Just give up. It's not going to work. Maybe you'll get a few. You'll churn and burn them. but you are not going to build something strong and long term. So that's just from a third party perspective.
No, and honestly, even just to talk about that for a second there, I feel like I've seen that kind of come off where even I've worked with, I've fortunately helped, I feel like a good amount of people in this journey up to date because I offer support for so long. So between start to finish, I think that's one thing where, some people worry about, like you said, whether or not you can help somebody or, what kind of support can I give? I think that's one thing where I'm not going to say never. I'm sure there's been maybe a one person or two that maybe they didn't tell me they didn't. But everyone, if they let's just say they ended up slacking and maybe they kind of gave up, whatever the case was, things didn't work out as they planned. No, like literally nobody has told me, man, Justice, like you really dropped the ball. Like you really, I really wish you would have helped me a bit more here. Like you didn't give me that A plus energy. And I think like I'm just kind of going back off what you're saying there. I feel like is because of that, like I'm there showing up and I truly enjoy that kind of, I offer the 3-month Zoom because I want to help someone directly. Like I want to get there and talk to them that way. And so they can feel that, I think. And so it's sometimes I feel like, dang, like, Johnny didn't get the results I was hoping he was going to get. It's too bad, man. Like we had a good 3 months, but yeah, it just didn't work out. And like 10 out of 10 times on average, Johnny's never upset at me, right? They're always like, no, man. I so many times they're like, I feel like I let you down a little bit. Like I could have done a bit more here, X, Y, Z. And I don't know. It took me a while to realize that because I'm always kind of worried. Like, I'm putting so much energy into people and I enjoy doing it. I'm like, I really want them to get success because it's going to make us both look good here, right? At the end of the day. So I always am kind of worried, like, dang, like they probably are going to be pissed at me. Like this thing didn't work out how they were hoping. But I've realized that's never been the case. So yeah, thank you for saying that really, because I feel like it's shown I'm on the other side based on people I've worked with, honestly.
100%. What were we talking about when it cut out, Jamie?
I can't recall.
I was gonna say something on that there. I remember you were talking about Chris had mentioned the engagement, and I think that's one thing too where Ian Stanley always says that, right? Simplicity and then complexity, right? I feel like that was something where I didn't even add into my game at first or add into my strategy. Now I do that a lot more where you're engaging with leads. It's like little things you can add, and sometimes I think people can get overwhelmed by adding too much at first, right? That's this whole imperfect action wins every time. I think that's something I truly believe in. I tell people that all the time because sometimes you get in your head and you feel like you got to have the most perfect content before putting it out. That's what, like I mentioned earlier before, my content was I was just putting out content to put out content. In my eyes, it was doing the branding job, and that's all I cared about. I didn't care if I was getting people to raise their hands. It's like that's awesome, and that's like if you can do it, incredible. But at the end of the day, just because everything isn't dialed in doesn't mean you can't improve it as you go and just embrace what's working the most for you, right? If something's working, lean on that more. And for me, I was able to book calls and kind of get that process going. So it's like, you know what, let me just keep on embracing that and I can, get the rest going better later.
Yep.
And we're not always the best judge of what's going to take fire. Sometimes you'll put out a post or something you think's amazing and no one likes it, or Zuckerberg buries it and no one sees it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You're better being consistent and putting out good stuff. Have standards, but don't hang on to one thing. You never know.
Spot on there, man. I'm telling you. Oh.
Well, I'm out of questions, so.
The comments refreshed on me. I wish I could see everything else that dropped. Oh, wait, there we go. I can see some. Oh, nice. I love to see the love here.
I think we've taken up enough of Justice this time.
No, man, I'm good here. I'm good here, man. That's the beauty is that now, once again, being able to do this full time, it's like I said, it's so nice now. Like I said, I was waking up at 5:30 in the morning. Now I still wake up at that time, but I get to really ease into my day. And I think that's been been one of my favorite parts so far. Is just really how mornings now, it's like I get to really between 5:30 and 9. I start when I want. If I want to, I can just hang out for 3.5 hours, like just be with my family. Because luckily, my wife works from home now too, so it's like we just all get to hang out. And I would have had to be on the train, like at this point, I'd be on the train heading into work, and I'd be gone for 8 hours plus, and all that. So
awesome.
I love what it's kind of done there for me, man. This is Affiliate marketing. Luckily, I saw that little ad on YouTube, man. Look at how time moves. I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Yeah, I was reflecting. I took some dates down before, so I thought it was pretty unreal, like to have discovered it in, what did you say, March, and then you started getting into it in July.
July is my first heard of it. Yeah, July. Yeah, March I quit the studio. That was something where I was shaking more from quitting music than I was quitting my 9-to-5 job, because that was something, once again, I was really, really passionate about that. So
Unreal. But the time frame to go from, was it July you'd heard of affiliate marketing, September you're making like a couple of little sales, and then you're making your first, you cracked the big one, so to speak, and then to a few months later you're making 30K, leaving your career, actually, not just a job, like a career path, retiring. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Jacob knows about that life. He was an accountant times 10 over here. I was just a little staff accountant compared to that guy.
It's brutal, man. It's brutal. That's I respect it. Anyone that figures this stuff out while juggling the two worlds, I think it's very impressive.
Oh.
Well, three worlds. Home is another one.
Yeah. Hey, preach. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's very cool.
Oh, this has been awesome.
I mean, we appreciate your time a lot. Yeah.
Massively. Thank you.
You think they got some from this? I'll have to look through the comments later.
Nah.
Oh, good. That's
been pretty lame, to be honest. No. It's been amazing. I'm gonna go watch the replay as well. I think this is unreal. I'm gonna take some notes afterwards. Any final words of wisdom to impart upon the audience?
Ooh, final words of wisdom. I'll do a quick plug. JusticeF.com. Anyone's looking, go check me out.
Oh yeah, where can we find you? Sorry, how rude of me.
JusticeF.com. Just like it sounds. Real thing to kind of help people out. I could obviously say there's so many things realistically. I think the biggest thing is just consistency. I think that's what's been for me, consistency in just sticking with it. Like I said, that was one thing for me where I just knew if I stayed consistent, and I'll never say the word guarantee, but I'm gonna say it just for this sake. To me, because in my mind, that's how I see it. If I stay consistent, truly consistent, it's damn near a guarantee. It's just a matter of when. If you're consistent with your content, you're consistent with building your audience, you're consistent with everything that SAA teaches, it's a matter of time. I sometimes I think we can get in our head, and that can just, you think you have a certain picture. That's something even that my dad taught me, where realistically it happened in music, where in reality I thought I was gonna be the next Kanye West, just making beats for people all day. I'd be living the life, right? And then I end up actually making money as an audio engineer, recording people, mixing people. It's like that, I didn't see that route coming, but as things happen, you adjust. And that's even kind of things where, once again, we try to have this perfect picture first. Just step back, stay consistent with what you got, and embrace the parts that are working the most. I don't think that I would have saw. I mean, I know I didn't see any of this come where I'm at right now. Realistically, I saw hopefully success, but that was that was the goal. Success, helping people. That was really it. And however I got there, I just knew I was going to keep following whatever kind of pushed me in that direction there. Making the right investments, making the right changes, just listening to the right people, not listening to all the noise, but just take what you got that's working. Don't doubt yourself. Don't doubt yourself.
Trust and belief.
All comes back to mindset, man.
Yep.
Powerful stuff, man.
Very powerful.
Man, massively appreciate it. Appreciate everyone that's tuned in. As the man said, you can go find him at justicesev.com. Other than that, massively appreciate it, dude.
Oh, this has been awesome. Really appreciate you guys. SA 2.0 coming out. I'm pumped for that new release.
Yeah, buddy.
Jump on.
You better email support.
No, I hope everyone got some value out there. Like I said, this has been awesome, man. Appreciate you guys. The continued support.
Really
I'll wait for that invoice in my email. This has been too good of a time. I know there's got to be some kind of catch.
All right, guys. Thanks very much, man. Thanks everyone for tuning
Thanks,
in as
Justice.
well.
Thanks all.
Oh,
Take it easy.
my pleasure. Take
Hey,
care,
everyone.
thanks for watching this video all the way through. Make sure you go ahead and like this if you got a ton of value from, which I hope you did. Subscribe to the channel and absolutely go ahead and join us in our original chapters community. Links right down there in the description. And as always, you are designed to become who you choose to be. I'll see you later.